Welcome to the DYNAMO Show. I am your host, James Erdt, the Chief Architect of WOW for a brand called DYNAMO Entrepreneur. We support experts in living well and doing good around the world, predominantly speakers, authors, internet marketers, coaches, all kinds of experts that are living well and doing good, putting the oxygen mask on themselves, but also taking that oxygen mask and putting it on their community and the world at large. We've got all different types of niches covered, all the way from personal development to self-growth and fitness, which is something I'm very passionate about, and we have a fitness expert here today. His name is Gregory Groves. Pleasure to have you on the show, my friend.
It's a pleasure to be here, James.
I've become a fan. I've been watching your social media, and you're very good at social media, I must say. You know, you're really good at supporting a lot of different people and communities and stuff like that, and I commend you on that.
Thank you. Took practice.
Before we get into fitness and your expertise in and all that, there's a story there. There's a story behind the man. Why don't we take it back a notch and maybe talk a little bit about the valleys that you swam and the mountains that you climbed to get to this position.
Okay, well, I went through my own weight loss journey. So how that started was I wound up in the hospital with some internal bleeding issues that was brought on from just years of abusing my body with fast food. And I kid you not, James, when I tell you, I used to eat fast food 3 times a day, 7 days a week, and I maintained that diet for many years.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What's your favorite fast food restaurant at the time?
At the time?
Yeah.
It was a combination of Taco Bell, McDonald's.
Okay. Okay.
2 restaurants I can't stand now.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, wound up in the hospital with some internal bleeding issues, and that scared me.
I bet.
Yeah. So I told my wife.
How young were you then?
That was about 15 years ago.
Okay.
So about 15 years ago that happened to me.
Do you care to share how young you are now?
I think we're roughly the same age.
Okay. Not a day over 24.
We'll leave it at that.
Again.
So yeah, went up in the hospital with some internal bleeding. It scared me straight. Scared me straight. So I told my wife I got to make some changes. So
okay.
Yeah, so that's when I started my weight loss
journey. Was she living that
journey.
lifestyle too? Was it both you guys?
Neither of us were eating the healthiest.
Yeah.
But it was me that it caught up to.
Okay.
It was me that gained the weight.
Yeah.
And gained the weight.
Yeah.
And gained the weight. You know, it kind of snuck up on me.
Where was like your highest weight? What would you say was the?
It was just shy of 270.
Oh boy. Okay.
Yeah. Just shy of 270.
Yeah. And how tall are you?
5'10" and a half, just shy of 5'11".
Yeah, me too. Okay. Yeah, that's a lot.
So that's a lot of weight. I'm not very tall. So that's a lot of weight for me to be holding on my body. So
the hospital scared you?
Hospital scared me straight, man. So I lost 45 pounds.
Good for you.
Because, thanks,
congratulations.
man.
I know it's not easy, man.
But the thing is,
we're habitual as human beings. You know, we get stuck in those habits.
You do. That's just it. And I'd like to talk about that later.
Yeah, let's do
that. But it was hard, man. It was hard. When I lost the first 45 pounds, I did everything wrong.
Okay.
I made all the mistakes.
Okay.
I emptied my wallet on useless supplements that did nothing but help me lose weight in my wallet. Yeah, so it's just a joke I like to
Well
make.
done.
So
Yeah.
I made all the wrong mistakes,
Yeah.
but I still managed to lose 45 pounds.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Did you put it back on again, or
No.
you kept it off?
No, I managed to keep it off.
Okay, good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then my wife got pregnant. As I believe you know, I have a son, 3-year-old son. We've talked about that. Yeah.
That's right. What's his name?
Brendan.
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 Very good. I'm sure Brendan's proud of you right now.
Yeah, well, that's just it. He was the reason why I decided to continue my weight loss journey.
Isn't it amazing that kids do that for us?
Kids
The only reason I'm
change you,
even
man.
alive is because of my daughter, Alicia.
You know what? I believe the only reason why I'm alive is because of my son, Brendan.
There you go.
So I hear you, man. That resonates with me.
Yeah.
Because I truly
just
believe
put
I
down
wouldn't be here.
$200 for each arm, my son, Lucas, and my daughter, Alicia, for sleeve tattoos. Yeah, you guys will see it on the next few episodes as I evolve my new tatted self.
You know, if we're talking about tattoos, I have this chest covered with his footprint and his name. So
Oh, his footprint. That's kind of
footprint.
cool.
Yeah, it's
Very
pretty
cool.
cool.
Very
Yeah.
cool. And what's so wild is like you're such a fitness expert now.
I am now.
Having gone from that to that, you know, like
Wasn't
that's
always, man.
cliche as it sounds. You know, if I can do it, you can do it, right?
Well, that's just it. That's just it.
Yeah.
But that's not where my journey ends, though.
Okay, let's keep going.
Wife got pregnant, and I wanted to go from good shape to great shape.
Okay.
I was happy with the 45-pound weight loss, but I had to recognize that was only halfway through my journey.
Yeah.
So I lost another 53.5 pounds.
Congratulations.
That I lost the right way.
Okay.
Right,
Okay.
I
So you
didn't-
educated yourself.
Educated myself
Any
in that
trainers
time.
involved, or
No, because after I lost the first 45 pounds, I became a trainer.
Oh, right away.
That's what,
Good on
right
you.
away, right
Good
away.
on you. What, like CanFit Pro style?
CanFit Pro.
Yeah, Good Life.
Certification. Yeah, did I tell you this before?
No.
Yeah,
No.
CanFit Pro and Good Life. That's exactly
Well, most
exactly
do.
it.
That's what I did. And
Oh,
That
okay.
was my path,
Yeah.
and many start there.
But yeah, that's where I started, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
Good Life Fitness.
That's
and,
right.
I decided it was
Good
time to
Life
go
was
to
the
my
other
own.
reason that I'm alive right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, give me accountability. You know,
Yeah,
I
it
went
does,
from
man.
gang life to good life.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Gang Life, the Good Life.
That's the first time I said it. I'll use it again.
You got to use that. You gotta write that down, man. Put that in your phone. That's good. I like that.
You heard it here on the DYNAMO Show.
James Erdt.
From gang life to good life.
That's right. So yeah, lost 53.5 more pounds, 98.5 pounds total,
Good
just
on.
shy of 100 pounds.
That's awesome, man.
And now, yeah, I kind of do my own thing.
Yeah, very good, very good. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Okay.
You know, let's talk a little bit about how you're helping others now.
Yeah, so my specialty is dealing with the emotional aspects of weight loss, right? So
The most important.
exactly. So my program revolves around that. So I had a lot of emotional struggles.
Okay.
Depression, anxiety, anger issues, were to the point I lashed out at my son at one point. And that was a changing point actually in my life. So I just would like to talk about that for a minute. I was eating breakfast with my son one morning, and I was dealing with a lot of inner demons, trying to find myself, right? And this is after I lost the second half of the weight, and I wanted to do more with my life, right?
Yep.
But I didn't believe in myself. So I had a lot of inner demons saying, you can't be a life coach. You're not good enough. You're not smart enough. You barely graduated high school. And you had a C/D average. So who are you to say you could be a coach and a speaker, right? So, and I believed them, and they consumed me to the point of anger. Anger to the point where I was lashing out at my family.
Oh, boy.
To the point where my wife once told me, it's like walking on eggshells with you.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm going to say next to you that's going to set you off.
You don't want to
right?
hear that.
No, that's just a horrible thing to hear from my wife, right? And it all came to a head when I lashed out at my son at breakfast one morning. My inner demons were consuming me. He was barely 2 years old, eating his Cheerios, playing with his Lego blocks, and I walked over and I knocked them out of his hand.
Oh, man. Yeah.
That broke me. That broke me, man.
That was it?
That broke
It was
me.
a defining moment.
And that was the defining moment. And that's why I always say that boy saved my life.
Yeah, wild.
Yeah.
Wild.
The words that he
Wow.
said, I got to throw this out there.
Yeah.
I realized what I had done,
Yeah.
and I lost it. And when I was walking out the door, my son called out, "Sorry, Daddy." And those two words.
Yeah. Well, you know what mine were? My daughter said to me, "What if I need you, Daddy? What if you end up dead or back in prison?"
Yeah, see? It takes that kid
That
to
was
say
it.
that one thing, doesn't
The
it?
arrow. Boom!
That's right, man.
Right in the heart.
That's
What an a-hole.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
That's
right,
it.
man. So yeah,
Turned me around instantaneously.
instantaneously, it turned me around. I changed my life.
I even quit smoking that day.
Good for you, man.
I went from
Good for
I was
you.
already on my way down to half a pack, and the rest, that was it. I just went got rid of the rest and turned my life around. 15 years
man.
clean from that moment.
That's good for
to this
you,
day.
man.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Nothing. Not a talk, nothing.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, man.
And that's why I do what I do.
Yeah.
I recognize that the emotional struggles were associated with my weight loss, something I didn't actually deal with in the whole, as a whole in my journey. So I educated myself, became a life purpose coach, I became a success coach, I became a happiness coach.
So many others too.
Now I'm helping others deal with their
love
internal emotional struggles. And
So what's the process? Like, let's say I'm a client of yours. When I come to you, and you're going to help me emotionally. What are you gonna
That's
do
a loaded question.
Okay.
Because everybody's different,
This is true.
right?
We've got 7 billion different universes going on.
That's right, man.
Yeah.
Too many universes. I can't narrow it down to just one. This is step one, this is step two, this is step three. I can't do that. I can't do that because everybody's different. I have a line of questions I ask each client just to kind of pull things out of them. That's what coaches do, right? We like to pick things.
So it's not like a self-help book.
No.
No.
No, nothing like that. So that's what I do, right? I figure out what's going to work best for each individual client because every client is different.
Truth, yeah.
All right, so it's the best answer I can give you there.
All right, well, where can they actually find you, my friend?
You can find me at my website, beyourownweightlosscoach.com, or on Facebook at Coach Gregory Groves.
If you were to give them your final, most important nugget in life, 10 seconds, what would you say?
I would say deal with your mindset. If you're on your own weight loss journey, don't obsess about losing the weight until you fix this. If you're seeing yourself as the fat guy or the fat girl and you can't break yourself out of that mindset, it's never going to be sustainable for you. I mean, yeah, nutrition and fitness has its place, but if you're not fixing this, you're missing the point.
Bingo. Yeah, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks, James.
Gregory Groves here on the DYNAMO Show. I am James Erdt, and we will see you right after this short commercial break. Welcome back to the DYNAMO Show. I am your host, James Erdt, the Chief Architect of WOW for DYNAMO Entrepreneur. We have a special expert here today. She's a dear, dear friend of mine. Her name is Sameena Fernades. Hello, hello, hello. It's an honor to have you on the show, fellow show host of 1111. You know, it's great to have you here.
And thank you for just having me here.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. It's an honor to have you. And I'm so excited to, one, have you share your story, because I believe it's a true story of empowerment and guidance and really having a special place here amongst all of us humans to do something really great and special. But before we get into that, let's take it back. Let's maybe talk a little bit about your story and how you got here.
Perfect. Well, actually, I think this whole interview is going to be about my story.
Okay, great.
And I just want to say, before coming, I was nervous because this is the first time I'm doing
You
something
even being
like
a
this.
television show host, you get nervous?
Well, being on this bigger platform with you, so, thank you for having me. And my story, well, it's very, it's a whole journey, and I'm still going through it.
Yeah.
And I guess I could go back to just be, one of the questions is what led me to be an entrepreneur.
That's right.
And it's interesting because honestly, it was never a choice of mine to be an entrepreneur.
No?
It was never a choice of mine to have my own business.
Okay.
And I was more like, I could say, forced into becoming an entrepreneur. At the time, felt like this was where I had to go, just being the entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And I have what's called now 1111.
Yeah, your television show.
And it's just started about a month ago. And I guess the best way to explain 1111, which you asked about my story, is to share my story.
Let's do it.
So here it goes. It is a vulnerable story. And anyways, what happened was, I was working at this popular charity, and I was a counselor there for 6 years at a hospice. And
what kind of counselor?
Grief counselor.
Grief
I was
counseling.
doing grief counseling. And for 6 years, I was doing that. And what happened was there was tremendous harassment, abuse, slave labor hours where I was forced to work. I was working actually 50, 60-hour weeks constantly.
Oh boy.
As a social worker, counselor, getting paid for 16 and then 20 and 25 sometimes, that it went to the most up to, but still working 30, 40 hours for free. And that's what I thought for me that was normal, and I was in so much denial. I lived, I don't know, in those 6 years I'd go into work with terror, fear, anxiety.
Yeah, that's not fun.
And no.
Especially for a charity.
No. No, it's not. But anyways, what happened is like God intervened. And I see it now. I didn't see it back then. I thought my whole world collapsed. My dad got diagnosed with cancer. And that was a huge wake-up call for me. I mean, I was consumed in my work. I was consumed in what I was doing. I wasn't present for my family. I just was doing my work. I was 10, 11 o'clock at night, come home and start again. Work at this hospice. And, you know, and Scott, you know Scott?
Scott dear friend of ours, that's right.
He's an intervention, well, he's a turnaround expert, and he lives like 2 buildings down from me. So when my dad got cancer, he stepped in and he said, you know, from time to time I can drive you to work, because my dad used to drive me to work. Right? And when the first time he drove me to work, I didn't even realize this. He says, your hands were shaking. And I would go in 2 hours early, intentionally sometimes, just so to avoid seeing my employer.
Oh, interesting.
As I was in the basement. And I was just that terrified, and I didn't even realize how much it was affecting me. The fear is like I almost got used to that fear.
You were accustomed to it. You didn't know any different.
No, I didn't. And anyway, so Scott, one day he said he got guidance from, you know, a spiritual, we could call it God guidance. And behind my back, he actually sent a message to the president of the board. Just a very loving message saying, you know, that Samina's really going through a hard time right now. She could use some support. Her dad has cancer. Maybe take her out for a meal or coffee. Maybe she'll feel safe to explain what's going on. Because he thought, you know, this is all internal. The board did not know what's going on. I have no idea.
You're just coming and going, and they don't know what's going on in your life.
Exactly. And then and then the message was received very well by the president. So that led into, Scott leveraged that into a meeting. So the president agreed to have a meeting. He leveraged it into that. And he was my voice at this meeting. And last minute they brought in a lawyer at this meeting. We disclosed everything that was going on that was inappropriate, the harassment, the abuse, the breaking, you know, illegal, breaking the law, not getting paid, all came out. And then they heard me, and they promised there'll be no negative consequences. I can relax. They knew the anxiety I was going through, and I was terrified. I said, you know, if I go to work the next day, I'm afraid I'm going to be punished by my employer, or if she finds out, I don't know. They said, don't worry, just relax. The next day I get called in, my day off, on a working day, but it was my day off, and I get suspended, and they said they're starting an investigation on me.
Oh boy.
And that was a huge, I'm like, oh my gosh, my world collapsed. And all of a sudden I go through all these, you know, negative things, negative emotions in my mind. And then the Ministry of Labor got involved. And this is a very short version of the story because we have a limited time,
we do, very short.
The Ministry of Labor got involved, and it's still going on. It's just been a side, so it's been a journey. So really, Scott has really been taking this and helping me to build different things around me. And what happened was, you know, I mean, I've just been living in fear, in anxiety. A lot of things have been happening since September. This journey I've been going through. And I just, you know, one day, fast forwarding, not very long ago, I come into the studio, right? So Scott created a structure for me because he knew like my mind was so traumatized and distraught,
Yeah.
and he created a daily structure where I can come in every day and he helps me and I work with him, right? And creating these different passions. And one day I come into work and I feel very guilty to disclose this to him. And I say, you know, Scott, I've been waking up with thoughts of not wanting to live anymore. I feel I don't have a purpose. I was a counselor. I did have a job. I connected with people, and now I don't know what to do with myself. I was so used to either going to school or going to work. It was either
one or the other. Yeah.
And now
there's something missing.
Something missing. I don't know. I mean, I can't make it as an entrepreneur. I feel no one's going to hire me now, and you know, I just don't want to live anymore. So Scott did not make me wrong, and he very graciously listened, and he said, well, you know, in good conscience, I don't feel good about really going and finding you a job, because you are in shock and traumatized.
So he helped you with the show.
And he said, what I can do though, because he asked me questions, he didn't just come up with 1111, he asked me questions.
Yeah.
And I said, and he got from those questions.
So he co-created it.
Co-created it, and I said, you know, and what he got from that is like, Samina, you miss a connection with people, right? I said, yes. I mean, it's probably insane for me to say this, but there were times, and that came up very recently, that I wished I could just go back to work, even in the abusive environment, be in denial.
Just because it's habitual.
It's a ritual, and I
habitual.
Habitual, sorry.
Right? Yeah,
I thought you said a ritual.
Habitually ritual.
Habitual. So, yeah, and
I would love for you to maybe share, we got about 30 seconds left, just 1111, what is the purpose?
Okay, so yeah, getting to that. So the purpose of 1111 is, so because I said I didn't want to live anymore, so Scott created 1111 to be, for me to have a purpose for someone to come in so I can connect. We go Facebook Live and connect with that person.
Yeah.
And honestly, 1111 has saved my life.
And you're also saving others' lives because you're allowing them to share their stories like you're doing exactly here. So
yes,
it's the same type of work.
It started off with serving me, and I'm so appreciative with that one person that comes in.
I love it.
And really gave me a person that day and lit me up.
I love it.
Got my morning started.
Brilliant, and I know you're going to do a lot of really great shows and really great things. Sameena Fernades here with James Erdt. This is the Dynamo Show, and we will be back right after this short commercial break. Welcome back to the Dynamo Show. I am your show host, James Erdt, the chief architect of WOW for a brand called DYNAMO Entrepreneur. We support experts in living well and doing good, predominantly speakers, authors, internet marketers, coaches, those that are taking the oxygen mask not only on themselves, but also putting it on their community and the world at large. And we have an expert today. He is actually a dear friend of mine, Mr. Zubin Sethna. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, James. Pleasure.
I am honored to have you on the show. You got to be, and I'm just going to take my hat off to you right now because, do you mind sharing your age?
Well, I am 23 years of age. 23
years of age, okay. This guy here is moving mountains, okay. When I was first speaking to him, I thought he was like at least like 50 in wisdom, you know, 35 in age, you know, and here he is, 23, shining light, helping so many people live a better life. But before we get into that, and we're going to talk business, let's talk a little bit about your story, because I know you have a very empowering story, one of overcoming all kinds of obstacles and swimming through rivers and climbing mountains. So let's get into it. Let's go way back.
Well, I guess we got to start back to where the soul of my career really started, and that has to be given to my parents, for sure. There's no doubt about it.
Okay.
My parents were one of those individuals that they are immigrants, right? Came from Pakistan, and what had happened was, as as my
So
sister
you were
and I-
born here or you were born there?
I was born here.
Here, okay.
Yep. So I was just born at North York General.
Oh, great. Yeah, right up the street.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But basically, my parents had always instilled that value of education into mine and my sister's lives, right?
Okay, great.
While we were growing up, we were actually all living in my grandparents' household, and it was more important for my parents to invest into our education and their education and lifelong learning in general than to buy a house or to buy a better car or those other choices that most families make. And there's nothing good, nothing bad, nothing right, nothing wrong, right? But that's just the path that they chose to take.
Yes.
And I guess that resonates with you as you grow up, right?
Sure.
Having a life of just constant learning, constant education, being in that environment where education is regarded as one of the highest creations on this planet.
That's why you're so smart.
If you do say so. But at the end of the day, there's no doubt about it. I mean, they without a doubt did whatever it took to make sure that my sister and I got the best education
Are
possible.
you the little brother or the big brother?
I'm the big brother.
Okay, okay. Okay. A protective big brother?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Good.
No doubt. But when it comes down to it, though, right? I have to give them kudos for that because without that value,
Still good values.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, that's great. That's
And
great.
so-
I'm sure they'll be proud of you hearing that when they watch this.
Oh, no doubt about it.
I love
no
it.
doubt about
I love
it.
it. Giving them kudos. You know, that's
Absolutely.
amazing. You know, so I know you started like very, very young in business. Did you not?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Started in my late teens, 19 to be exact, when I ventured off onto on my own into an entrepreneurial path. I started off with a network marketing company. Like,
What was your first job?
My first job would have been a camp counselor.
Oh, me too.
Actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I worked
Really?
at a church camp. Yeah,
Oh,
believe
awesome.
it or not, yeah, up in
Look at that.
Bayfield, like Grand Bend area.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah, I did that for quite a few years. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, my role was for about 3 years, and I was doing lifeguarding at the same time as
Okay,
well, right? So,
great.
yeah, I mean that was my first job
Yeah,
side
yeah.
of things, right? But as I got older into my teens and whatnot, I definitely had that passion for entrepreneurship, and there's no doubt about it. And so network marketing really taught me that essence, and that's what really got my foot into the door for the most part. And as we progressed, I mean, of course, I got into the financial services industry, and then very soon after that, right into real estate investing. And this was a time, and this was a very scary time for me, where I really had to test what my true values were. And it was those values of education that finally just came back up and came apparent, because I was at a time where I wasn't all that wealthy, I wasn't all that rich by any means. I mean, I was just a teenager, really.
Yeah.
And I had that choice of investing into my education and going for what my parents wouldn't necessarily consider to be
A good choice?
education. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
Definitely turned me into the individual that I am today.
That's amazing.
Right? Through those personal development programs and seminars and whatnot that I
Were you
did
involved
purchase.
in like sports and stuff? I mean, by the sounds of it, you went right into business pretty quick.
Well,
You know?
no, as a boy, yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
one of my passions was actually speed skating.
Speed skating,
Yeah,
right on.
no doubt about it.
I just got a pair of rollerblade speed skates.
Oh, yeah?
With the big wheels, the 4 big
Really?
wheels, yeah. So I go down by the park in Burlington along the water.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, in the morning when there's nobody there, crystal water, and just like speed skate all the way down to Hamilton. and
Oh,
back.
beauty. It's
Yeah.
actually funny that you mentioned that, because they always say that with speed skating, or I mean, ice skating in general, right? It's
Yeah.
always easier to learn on the ice before you get onto the rollerblades and all that.
Yeah, yeah. It's
So-
wild. You know what's crazy? I'm Canadian and I've never been ice skating.
What?
It's the one thing I've never
Really?
done in my life. I've done every extreme sport you can imagine, like
Wow.
Canadian like to the bone, you know, except for ice skating, which is crazy. And I'm a rollerblading expert. I was on a trick skating team. And
Really?
ramp skating and like you name handrails, everything.
Way back in the day.
Yeah, way back in the day. Yeah, hey, not too far back, but.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Did you ever get into rollerblading and like stuff like
Yeah,
that?
I did.
Yeah. 'Cause, you know,
Yeah, definitely a bit tougher, but
Yeah.
hey, what isn't when you start off, right?
That's right. That's right. So then you get into business, you know, at a
Yep.
very, very young age, and obviously, you know, being that young and having the success that you've had, you know, I'm sure that comes with highs and lows.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. And I guess to get right into it, yes, I did experience a big high, and a very big high. I made a lot of money very quickly within the real estate game. And it was just one thing led to another, and one stupid decision after another, continuously boosting my ego from those what are now very small, minor deals that had gone through, it was bound to happen, and it crashed, and I lost a lot of money.
Okay.
Right? Definitely more than I had made, and it was at a time when there was no doubt about it that I should not have been operating my business and my practice the way I was. Right? The ego took over. There was so many times when I still remember I would be on.
What happens when you're 19?
Oh yeah,
With a lot of
kidding.
money.
Well, I was 20 at the time. Now,
Okay,
right? So
okay.
One
Are you
year
still
of
ice skating though?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
yep.
good.
Yes, I was. but can you imagine? I mean, just a 20-year-old kid being on the phone saying, "Hey, look, I did this. Barack Obama couldn't even do this." And this was really, I mean, this was my ego talking, right? And so when that kind of stuff happens, I mean, it's bound that I was going to learn my lesson.
Yeah.
Right.
It
So.
humbles you.
Oh yeah.
But it's wild that you see that now, because you're not even that much older. I mean, 23.
Oh, yeah.
We're only talking like 3 years later, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, and
No
you've
doubt
grown
about
up
it.
so fast.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean,
There's no doubt.
You're rolling with, you know, people my age in a room, and you're holding your own. And I see you navigating the room, and you're having conversations of intellect and wisdom and experience that people that have been in the game for 10, 20 years are having. And you're having those same conversations. It's mind-boggling.
Well, of course, and James, think about it. There's no way that I would be able to grow if I wasn't around people that are so much more brighter than me, so much more intellectually savvy, with so many more years of experience, right? You can't possibly expect to grow when you're the smartest person in the room. And that's why I like to tell people, I really hope that I'm nowhere near the smartest person in the room. I want to be on the low end of things. I want to be in a room full of people who have gone through experiences that I could never even dream of. People who were around when business was booming when business was booming and crashing in the 70s, 80s, 90s, at times when I was not even alive. And when you learn from these individuals and you learn from their experiences and you apply that into your business, I mean, you're taking 30 years worth of experience and intellect into your own practice. And my philosophy is, why make that mistake if they already did it for me? I've got plenty of my own mistakes to make. Right? So,
you know what though, it's just amazing to have like somebody of your age have the wisdom and the wherewithal and the know-how to put themselves into that situation, right?
Oh, yeah.
Without those crashes and burns, you know, maybe you would not have this right now. You know, you've played a big game at a very young age and you learned your lessons, and now you're being smart. Even like Steve Jobs, he used to say he same thing, you know, he would put himself into a room where people were smarter than him. If he didn't have the answer, he was within arm's reach of somebody who had the answer. So he surrounded himself with, you know, the ability to simplify chaos, right?
Absolutely.
And chaos was all around him, so he had all these different scientists and stuff like that, and then he would turn it into one button.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no doubt about it.
Amazing.
And it's funny that you mentioned that, because even my father, whenever we always used to talk about career, business, whatever it would be, right, he would always say, yeah, when you're in a business as the CEO, you don't want to be the smartest guy in the room. I mean, if anything, you want to hire people that know things you don't. That's how you run a proper business.
Are you hiring? We're going to go to a short commercial break. This is the DYNAMO Show. I'm here with Zubin Sethna. Stay tuned for more. Welcome back to the DYNAMO Show. I am your show host, James Erdt. I'm sitting here with Zubin Sethna. Let's continue. Now, I know you're writing a book, okay?
Yes, sir.
And you're a new author, and you have a lot of knowledge on the financial sector. So what's the passion behind the book? What's the purpose of the book? What's the book called?
Well, the book is called A Path to Financial Freedom. And I guess where the passion resonated from was more so along the lines of my experience in the traditional financial sector. Because see, a lot of times what we have found with many clients and many individuals in general is that when they're seeking financial advice, they're looking to go to a professional, trusting that they're actually going to be receiving a solution that is good for them. Now, don't get me wrong, there are financial advisors out there that do the right things for their clients.
There are?
But that's my point exactly, right? I mean, when you look at a financial advisor, to cut it straight and simple, and many financial advisors may not like this, but they're just overglorified salesmen. That's what it comes down to. And I was one of them. And I'm speaking from that experience.
What's in it for me?
Exactly. It's all about the commissions. It's all about getting as much of a front-end load fee or a deferred sales charge if you really can on the client. It's all about getting those big insurance premiums in place when they don't necessarily even need those types of policies. And so when you're in a position of authority where people are actually seeking seeking advice to better their own future, and you in that role are not only told to do this by upper management, but are actively driven by the kinds of the types of commission that you can earn on these products and pushed to sell certain things versus others, you're not exactly doing a service to your clients, rather you're doing a disservice to them. And so if clients could actually understand, or people in general, entrepreneurs especially, oh my God, if entrepreneurs could understand that there is a better way to be able to stabilize their personal livelihood at home by earning a source of what I like to call passive income, right, which is income that really does not require too much effort.
I'm actually creating a new pie, passive income empire.
Look at that. Oh, look at that. I love it.
I'm big on passive income.
No doubt about it, right? And every entrepreneur, I feel, needs to have the key education behind themselves in that field of passive income to be able to maximize their entrepreneurial journey in whatever it may be. And I'll be honest with you, James, I've gone to seminar after seminar after seminar. I've spent a good 6 figures on my education in that regard. I've seen you at many of them. No doubt about it. And so when you're looking at the types of individuals that you're meeting, I mean, I'm speaking to individuals that are literally coming up with these brilliant engineering ideas, things that are completely profound, out of this world, godly technological advances. I'm looking at people that actually have a passion for modeling, right? I mean, there was a group of 2 gentlemen that I met at a marketing course actually in March of 2015 that were in the underwear business. I mean, they're really passionate about what they're doing.
Did they hire you?
I mean, I asked them to, but didn't make the cut there. But you're looking at all these kids and all these individuals that have this ability to really create something completely profound. And what's keeping them behind is something like money. I mean, really? And when we're really talking about it, once people actually understand how to have their money work for them, and not work for them in the mutual fund side or the seg fund side, I'm talking about really having money that's coming in without you really doing anything. That's what real working for money is. When you structured your assets so that you're earning an income, regardless of whether or not you put effort into that field of things, that's when you really are financially free. When you're exactly.
Right?
Your passive income has to be greater than your expenditures.
Yes.
And if that's not the case, you're forced, unfortunately, to be chasing the next sale in your job, or to be working that salary-based job, that 9 to 5, whatever it may be. Now, nothing against jobs. I respect them. I have employees that work for me, and I respect my employees as well. But at the end of the day, if you're an entrepreneur, how beneficial would it be for you to have money not be that issue that holds you back? And how much change could you make in the world if you could actually focus on your craft?
And that's the key, there, right?
Exactly.
Making as much impact as you can.
Exactly. And that's what it really comes down to. Isn't that why we're all entrepreneurs? Isn't that why we're always doing what we're wanting to do?
That is.
Right?
That is. Where do you see yourself, let's say, in like 5 years?
In 5 years' time, I want to be the go-to guy for entrepreneurs. I want entrepreneurs to know that no matter what it is that they are wanting to accomplish, no matter what their dreams, their goals, their visions may be, I'm going to promise one thing and one thing only to them. And it may be a very small thing, but it's a very important thing. I want them to be financially free, where their passive income is greater than their expenditures in their personal life. If I can do that, and if I can help out even just 1,000 individuals, 1,000 entrepreneurs serious about their career, just 1,000 people.
No tire kickers.
No, none of that. None of these people that are saying, "Oh, well, I've been an entrepreneur for 3 months and I just incorporated myself." Okay, like, get some experience, right? Good for you, but get some proper experience there. I mean, the real people that have really been driving hard to get their creation on the market, or to get their product or service out there to the world, if they could just come to me and I could take care of money in their personal life for them, hell, can you imagine what they could do for their corporate livelihood or for their entrepreneurial
Or their
careers?
community, or the world at large.
Exactly.
Right.
And how much more philanthropic projects can you conduct? How many more lives can you help out? How many more charitable organizations can you donate your time to? I mean, how much more money can you give? Yeah. That's a big portion of things too.
It is.
And what if I could just be that guide for them?
What if the recipe for that is in your book?
The recipe for that is going to take a lot of work.
Yes.
It is going to take some experiences, both negative and positive.
And
it is going to be a journey.
That's how we learn.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, do you have more of a passion for young entrepreneurs or just entrepreneurs in general?
You know what? I'm glad you asked that. I have a passion for entrepreneurs in general.
Yeah.
Right? New, old, young, old, whatever it may be.
Never too late to be great.
Absolutely. Look
Right?
at the
When's
founder
the
of
best
KFC,
time to plant
right?
a tree?
Now.
Right? That is.
And there's no doubt about that. And so, why not assist anybody that really has that vision? I'm not going to put an age limit, a limit based on whether or not you're male or female, whether you come from Canada, the US, Europe, Africa, Asia, Australia. It doesn't matter to me. Antarctica. Right? It really does not matter to me.
I love it. I love it. Now, being a author, you know, you'll probably get a lot of offerings for television shows like this, radio shows, and obviously the speaking. So speaking career will probably follow suit. Have you thought about that, really stepping onto the big stages of the world and becoming one of the speakers?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So we will be coming up with our seminar later on this year, so
Very nice.
we're very happy about that.
Very nice. What does that look like? I'm a big fan of seminars, so this is fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, basically what we're wanting to structure is a weekend of wealth.
Yeah,
we
it's
want
like a 3-day?
It'll be a 2-day, right? So
okay,
Saturday,
okay.
Sunday.
Yeah.
And we want to educate entrepreneurs out there in order to actually build this structure of passive income in their own lives so that they can start that right away as soon as they go home.
Okay.
And it does not really take too much effort to start the process. Does it take a lot of effort to continue on and get some of those key components in? Absolutely, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But the first
Like
step
everything.
in
Everything worthwhile.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And everything needs that start. And if you don't start, unfortunately, you're not going to reap the benefits of it, right?
That's it. You don't enter the race, you don't win.
Exactly.
That's it. And then, have you looked up at like anybody, like in regards to personal development people's, like who are your fans? Who are the people that you've been a fan of for quite some time? Who inspires Zubin?
I'd have to say the big dogs in the industry that I have followed for sure have definitely been T. Harv Eker. I've gone through a lot of his programs.
Okay,
There's no doubt about it.
Likewise, yeah.
Right, through Peak Potentials and so on and so forth.
Great material.
Another fan that I definitely have is Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah.
And a lot of
Rich
his,
Dad, Poor Dad.
yeah, absolutely. And a lot of his principles
Cash flow quadrant.
resonate with me.
That's
Yep,
right.
exactly. Like the cash flow quadrant, right?
Yeah,
Where he talks about ESBI and exactly what you can do with your finances and how you can structure your finances to effectively work for you in your own favor. And it's funny enough that I'm on a lot of these mentoring calls with Tom Wheelwright, Robert Kiyosaki's tax planner.
That's right.
And it's amazing to see the wealth of knowledge that they actually provide, right? So
I love it.
you have to be a continuous learner. At the end of the day, that's how my parents raised me. That's how I'm going to be.
And soon you're going to be a continuous educator.
Absolutely.
Bada bing, bada boom. Zubin Sethna here on the DYNAMO Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you back on episode 48. I am James Erdt, your host. Once again, thank you so much.